Hello everyone, myself Syed Sajid Ali, and today I am here to deliver a lecture on a topic which is known as atomic structure. Why I have selected this topic? Because this topic forms the base for the students who are going to study about periodic table. This video could be a little bit lengthy, so for that purpose I am giving the topics and the subtopics along with the timing in the description box. So in the description box, when you go and click onto the particular topic's timing, your video will directly jump onto that particular topic. So this will save your time. So let's begin with the today's topic, that is atomic structure. Whenever you are learning something, on that time it is very much important that you should understand or you should be aware of the word which you are going to study. So here first let us understand the meaning of the word atom. Atomic word came from the word atom, and now this atom is actually combination of two words, a and tom. Okay, in Greek, remember in Greek a means not, a means not, not, and tom actually in Greek means tamnin. It means tamnin, and tamnin means what? To cut, to cut. So if we combine both this word not and to cut, if we combine, this clearly says that it is not divisible further, or it cannot be cut further. How is it possible? Let me give you one example. Let us take example of this marker. If I start cutting the marker, then I can cut it into various pieces, but the time will come that I won't be able to cut it further. So the tiniest particle which is not further divisible will be called as the atom of this marker. Okay, so you can take any of the material. It could be a living or a non-living thing. If you start cutting it, then the smallest particle which cannot be divisible further will be called as the atom of that particular object. Let us move to the structure of the atom. Atom is composed of two parts. Atom is composed of two parts. One is the central part, that is known as the nucleus, and other, the thing which surrounds the nucleus, is known as shell. It could also be called as orbit, and there is another name for it. It is also called as energy level. Energy level. Okay, now let me draw a diagram for it. Suppose this is a nucleus of an atom, so the shell or orbit or energy level will be surrounding it. So this will be the orbits or the shell or energy level. In the nucleus, it consists of two particles. One is positively charged particle which is known as proton. They are positively charged particle. They are positively, you can also write is, they are known as a protons, and the another particle is known as a neutron. That means they are having no charge. They are having no charge on it, and I can also call it as neutral particle. Neutral particle. Okay, so it is a neutral in nature, whereas the shell or orbit or energy level consists of only one type of a particle, which is negatively charged particle, and they are known as electron, and they are known as an electrons. Okay, and they are negatively charged particles. So this is about the atom. Atom is known as, or is called as electrically neutral. Why it is called as electrically neutral? Because number of proton is equal to number of electron. What is proton? Proton are nothing but positively charged particle. And what is electron? Electron are nothing but negatively charged particle. So what I am trying to say, that every atom in nature, every atom consists of equal number of proton. For an example, these atoms, for an example, one atom is consist of 10 protons. So that atom will be containing 10 electrons as well. So plus into minus is equal to minus. So this 10 and this 10 will get cancelled. That means both the charges has been cancelled and there will be no charge. No charge means what? It will be a neutral. So hence every atom in nature is called as electrically neutral. They are called as a electrically neutral. On the basis of presence of proton, neutron and electron, two terminologies could be defined, and they are, first is atomic number and other is atomic mass number. Remember, now atomic number is represented by the letter Z and atomic mass number is represented by letter capital A. It is capital Z, it is capital A. Okay. Now, what is atomic number? Total number of protons present in an atom makes atomic number of that particular atom. So what is atomic number? Total number of protons present in an atom is called as atomic number and it is represented by Z. And what is atomic mass number? Total number of proton plus total number of neutron present in an atom is called as atomic mass number. So what is an atomic mass number? Total number of protons plus total number of neutron present in an atom is known as atomic mass number. Now let us understand this with an example. Consider this is an element. Okay, so the atomic number will be written over here at the base, near the base, and atomic mass number or atomic mass will be written over here. Okay, so let us consider one example. Suppose this is an atom, okay, and this is a nucleus of an atom. So it contains proton and it contains neutron, okay, and the shell is containing electrons. And the shell is containing electrons. Fine. Now suppose protons are 10. So and neutrons are 12. Okay. So as I told you before that every atom in nature is electrically neutral. Why? Because total number of proton is equal to total number of electron. If this atom contains 10 proton, that means it will also contain 10 electron. So 10 electron, 2 here and 8 in the second shell. 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 and 10. Okay, so proton is 10, neutron is 12 and electron is 10. Okay, now what would be what would be its atomic number? Atomic number is total number of proton. So here total number of proton are 10. I can write over here P is equal to 10, N is equal to 12, and electron E is equal to 10. Okay, it is a 10. Okay, so atomic number Z means total number of proton. So how many proton are present? 10. So I can write over here as a 10. And what is A? A is nothing but atomic mass number, and atomic mass number is what? Total number of protons plus total number of neutrons. Okay, so what is a proton? 10. What is a neutron? 12. So here I can write 10 plus 12, that is a 22. If suppose you don't know the neutron, suppose if you want to know the neutron of any of the atom, so how many neutrons are available? It's very simple. See, this represents atomic mass number. And what is the atomic mass number? It is nothing but addition of proton plus addition of neutron. So you know the value of proton. What is the value of proton? It is a 10. So what would be the value of neutron? Definitely 22 minus 10 would give you 12. So the value of neutron is 12 in this atom. This is just a small trick I have shown you to find out the number of neutron present in an atom. Now let us understand the structure of an atom in detail. Now suppose this is a nucleus and these are the shells. Okay, this is a nucleus, and the first shell which is nearby nucleus is represented by capital letter K. Then second would be L, third would be M. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third, and fourth N, and so on. You know that every individual is having its own capacity to hold the weight. Likewise, every shell is also having its own capacity to hold the electrons. How does we come to know the capacity of each and every shell or orbit? It is given by a formula which is known as 2n square. What is n? N is nothing but number of shell. So if we want to find the capacity of first shell to hold the number of electron, so here n will be 1. Why? It is the first shell from the nucleus. In this equation we will be taking n is equal to 1. So what we will get? 2 1 square. What is the square of 1? It is 1 only. 1 into 2 will be 2. So the first shell is having capacity to hold 2 electrons. 2 electrons. So what would be the capacity of orbit L? Let us find out. Here we need to put n is equal to 2 and apply this formula. You will get the answer. So what will be the answer? 2, n means 2. We have to put it as a 2 because it is a second shell from the nucleus. It is a square. Square of 2, it is a 4. 4 2s are 8. That means second shell will be having 8 electrons holding capacity. Likewise, the third, that is a M orbit, what will be the capacity? Let us find. N we are taking as 3. So 2 3 square. What is a square of 3? 3 square is nothing but 9. So 9. 9 2s are 18. That's it. So the capacity of the third orbit will be 18 electrons. Okay, so like this you can find out the capacity of all other orbits. Now student, everyone in this world would like to get settled in the life. Likewise, all the atoms in this world also would like to get settled down. How they can be stable? There are two rules: octet rule, octet, and duplet. Duplet and octet. Duplet means what? The outermost shell will be consisting of 2 electrons and octa word comes from 8. The outermost shell would be having 8 electrons. The best example and the only example of duplet is helium. Helium is having atomic number as 2. Here I can draw an atom of helium. This is a nucleus and this would be the first shell. First shell is having capacity to hold 2 electrons. So here 2 electrons. That's it. Helium is stable. Now moving to the next topic, that is the electronic configuration. What is electronic configuration? Electronic configuration is a process in which we place the electron in their respective orbit. How does it work? Let's say, suppose I am taking an example of sodium. So sodium is having 11 electrons, okay, in its atom. So 11 electron, so it could be written as 2, 8 and 1. Why I have written like this? See here, because the first shell is having capacity to hold 2 electrons. Fine, so we can't go beyond 2, so I have written 2. Second orbit is having capacity to hold 8 electrons, so I have written 8, though 1 electron was remaining, so I have not written 9 over here. Why? Because the capacity or the limit of holding the electrons of second orbit is 8, so I have written 8, and 1 is remaining, so definitely the 1 will be placed in the third orbit. So this is how we can write the electronic configuration. Now let us see how we will place it in an orbit. This is a nucleus, okay, this is a first shell. How many electrons? 2, 1 and 2. Second orbit, this is the first completed second orbit. How many electrons? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Done. And what about the third one? This is the third orbit. How many electrons? 1. Only 1. That's it. Done. Now let us take another example, the example of a chlorine. Now how many electrons does chlorine contain in it? It contains 17 electrons in it. Let us first write the electronic configuration. How many electron holding capacity for the first orbit? It is 2. Write 2. Then second orbit 8. 8 plus 2 is equal to 10. Still 7 are remaining. What is the holding capacity of a third one? It is having 18. So yes, we can take 7 electron. So we have taken 7 electron in the third or outermost shell. Okay, so we have taken this. Now let us draw a diagram or a structure. This is a nucleus, okay, and now this is a first orbit, okay. How many electrons in the first orbit? 2. So 2 we have taken. Then draw a second orbit. How many electrons in the second orbit? 8. Let us draw 8 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fine. So 8 electrons. Done. How many electrons in the third shell? It is 7. So let us draw one more shell. And how many? 7 electrons. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. According to octet rule, an atom must contain 8 electrons in their outermost orbit to get stable. but here we can see outermost orbit is having 1 electron, whereas for chlorine it is having only 7 electrons. Now what do you think, out of sodium and chlorine, who is more likely to get settle or more likely to get stable? It is chlorine. Why? Because number 7 is more nearer to 8, right? But here very less chance of getting settled. Yeah, one thing could be done. This sodium, if it want to get stable, it can borrow 7 electrons, and here 7 plus 1 would be 8 electrons, and it could get stable. But nature doesn't allow this. Why? Because shifting this 7 electron over here will consume more energy. But one thing could be done. We can shift only 1 electron over here. If we shift this one single electron over here, this chlorine will get settled or will become stable, as well as it will require less amount of energy because only 1 electron will be moving from its place. And as 1 electron moves from its place, what will happen? Sodium do not require the third shell. Why? Because this electron is being shifted to the chlorine. So what will happen? This last shell would be removed. As the last shell of sodium is removed, now the second shell has become the last shell, and last shell is having 8 electrons. Hence, according to octet rule, sodium is also stable, right, by donating 1 electron. And over here, after accepting 1 electron from sodium, it also contains 8 electron in the outermost shell. Hence, it is also stable now. So, by giving and taking of electron, an atom can become stable. So with this, I end up my lecture and hope so that you have understood whatever has been taught. Thank you for watching my video.